watching the Dog Show. Another new episode is coming up tonight.
It's the Dog Show. It's the Dog Show. It's the Dog Show.
You're listening to the one and only Dog Show. Your hosts, Troop Brinson and Smooch Moncrief.
Just two dudes talking Georgia football.
Welcome, dog fans, to the one and only Dog Show with Troop and Smooch. And we're back, folks. Yeah. I mean, it was one of those games, heartbreaking loss.
Heartbreaking.
At home to Kalen DeBoer.
Never
And
thought
the
we'd be there.
Alabama.
I never thought we would be there when the streak ended, True Brinson.
Yeah, right. Alabama Crimson Tide beat the Dogs 24-21. It sounds like a score that was predicted, a 3-point game, 27-24. It's been a pretty common theme with Georgia and Alabama. But, we were on the scene, Smooch, and we were soaking it in.
Yeah.
We wanted to get to the stadium as early as possible. And it was an electric atmosphere that
Unbelievable.
didn't even feel like a regular season game. I mean, obviously you don't have championship games at home anymore or anywhere. But it felt like that was a momentous game that we were going to cast the demons out, and the whole crowd was ready to just kick the roof off of that stadium. You know, it's not no roof on that stadium, but it felt like the fans were just poised and ready to kick it.
I've opened rock shows before in large venues, with tens of thousands of people in it. I have never heard anything louder than we heard the crowd a few times. So loud that you couldn't tell if you were screaming or not. You couldn't hear your own voice. The fans did their job, and the atmosphere was electric. You could feel the excitement start when we got probably a quarter of a mile from the stadium. You could feel that place buzzing. And the atmosphere was unbelievable, and those memories will stay with us no matter what, because it was an electric day. It just didn't end the way we wanted it to, and we're gonna put this to bed today.
Yeah, we had a great weekend, and thanks to Mercer Gary for kicking us some tickets and joining us in all the fun. One of my old friends, and Mercer took care of us that weekend. We did take a camper, Chad Kennedy, also. Thank you, brother. And took a 38-foot camper a little bit east of Athens and Watson Mill, Bridge State Park. And we set up Friday night, Smooch. We had the tent outside of the camper with the TVs, and Smooch brought a smoker. We smoked salmon.
Yes, we did.
We smoked Conecuh sausage, and we had lots of cocktails.
Yeah,
and it was a great night. Florida State got beat, and we enjoyed watching that game, and then everything that led into Saturday, and just cooking breakfast, and just a lot of good times with all our buddies. Scott Fitzgerald showed up with his son, and of course Mercer and his son Caleb as well. Yeah, and it's a good time. Georgia just could not quite finish the drill, as it were.
Yeah, they didn't finish it up for us. We got it started, and they could not bring it home for us.
So let me ask you something. You live in Huntsville.
I do.
Across enemy lines.
Yeah.
What do you feel like the sentiment has been from that game to now? Because you've been there a few days now. You got back late Sunday afternoon. What's the sentiment?
Well, early on when I got back, I checked my phone, on the trip back. And it was just, hey, are you okay? Those types of things, people checking. But when I got back and we started talking about the game, I was very surprised. The Alabama fans were not positive in the second half, and they were watching Georgia run the ball at will on them, and they were watching that lead evaporate and evaporate and evaporate. And the sentiment here is, how in the world did Georgia manage to lose that game to our Crimson Tide? That's the Alabama sentiment, that they were pulling their hair out later in that game, watching Georgia march down the field and bully them around. and then watching their own offense sputter in the second half. All of those things, they'll certainly take the win. They certainly deserve the win. They certainly beat Georgia. But it wasn't as much trash talking as I thought, because they were a touch bit confused as to how that outcome happened as well.
So social media is different than the people you meet in real life.
Oh,
That's what Smooch is saying. Because in social media, they were like, "Yeah, that's our stadium. Yeah, we'll take your hedges with us, and because we're Georgia's daddy, and this is our home now." And I had nothing to respond to that. I was like, "Yeah, I feel like
looks like
I feel like, yeah, we little bro. If you're not our parents, but we definitely little bro." And so I felt that. When you run the ball like Georgia did, you expect to win those games. You just got to. There's a couple of plays you got to make. We're gonna get to that. Mm-hmm. We're gonna kind of flip things around in terms of how you would normally do. I would normally set up a show and do the takeaways first, and then we'll get to the narratives of what happened. What happened? What did we see? We had great seats. And I don't know if you saw this, folks. You can go on Twitter right now and TikTok as well, YouTube. We've already done, like, in a little bit over 24 hours, like some of the vids that we sent out, the clips from the game, like 55,000.
Altogether, it's 75,000 between all our platforms.
So
50,000 on Twitter. Yeah.
Because we were lined up right on some key plays that I happened to pick my phone up and video it, and check that out. But let's do some takeaways of what we feel, and it's like a process of where we get to feel. It's a Thursday recording this, because Saturday night, you guys don't want to know what me and Smooch were feeling walking out of the stadium. Smooch, oh my goodness, Smooch during the game, he was not a Georgia fan.
Oh my gosh,
so irritated with the defense.
Yeah,
all the third down conversions felt so like personal. Mm-hmm. How dare you, Kirby Smart? How dare you, Kalen DeBoer? This is not the way we planned this.
Yeah.
And my takeaways is to start off with, Simpson's really good. He's better than I thought he was, because Georgia did put some pressure on him. Georgia did have a plan for him, but sometimes you got to tip your cap. Kirby even said that. Sometimes you got to tip your cap to Grubb and DeBoer. They are really good offensive coaches. They had a great plan. They knew what they were looking at from Georgia's defense. They really did. And it's like, so when you see the quarterback execute what they had planned out, and he was not confused by anything. He was not confused by 93,000 people going bonkers.
No.
Or Georgia's defense trying to change things up, because they would show you something pre-snap and something different post-snap. It didn't confuse him at all.
One false start, Troop Brinson. They had one false start with all that crowd noise. It was impressive.
Especially with all those third downs, because Georgia got to a lot of third downs in the first half, a lot. And they did complete overall 13 out of 18. That's you don't lose with those numbers, and they could have. Yeah. They could have lost with those numbers. And if they'd have lost with those numbers, they'd have been like, how do we lose when we convert 13 out of 18? It doesn't happen. But Georgia was in position to beat them. And so I really give credit to Grubb and DeBoer for their game plan. I heard they went back years looking at Kirby Smart's defense, and to get this, that's what they used their 2 weeks for. Because this was one of those games where they had to have it.
Well, you could tell, Troop Brinson, their plan worked, because we watched secondary players in the secondary look confused. You could really see it, when you can see the whole team, unlike when you're watching on television. And there was confusion in the Georgia secondary throughout the game. So they knew what they were doing. The window dressing they gave Georgia was working.
And we'll talk about Georgia had 2 redshirt freshmen, because Daniel Harris did not play at all. 2 redshirt freshmen playing a key defensive back spot in Ellis Robinson and DeMello Jones. And give credit, they really tried to pick on those guys.
Yeah.
I don't think they were successful as they wanted to be, but we felt anxious just because of that. Mm-hmm. Watching those guys looking around and you didn't feel like they knew exactly where they needed to be or what the call was. But elite talents, those guys are. My other takeaway is that Georgia is really young. So young. 64% of this team, freshman and sophomore.
My goodness.
And that's, I think Tennessee is right there too. They've got even a higher percentage, but a very young team. And that's the transfer portal, because when these guys aren't playing early, hitting the road, dude.
Yeah.
And they're somewhere else, and you don't have that depth with their upperclassmen. And so I really felt Georgia is young. That's a big takeaway. We saw some of those growing pains.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the other part of that is that they should grow up quickly, because midway through the season, you're not a freshman anymore. You're not a sophomore anymore. You've had enough. If you've been on the field, you've got enough game time to evolve past that, whatever you're missing, enough practice time. So that was some of my takeaways.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that if the secondary can improve the way that they say the offensive line has improved in just a few weeks, then there's good things ahead. I thought the offensive line, I know we had a breakdown or two at key moments, but the offensive line they really took a huge step forward. And when you rush the ball like Georgia did, you know they can do that. It's pass pro, but they even improved there. That was a great takeaway to see what we would call a Georgia running game again. That was really great.
Yeah.
In the defense and the defensive scheme, my takeaway is Kirby Smart is not going to dumb down his complicated scheme to make up for inexperience. He is going to trial by fire, have those guys learn within his system so that hopefully when they're there as juniors, seniors, that they are, you see something like the 2021 defense. That is the reason I think we saw players confused, and it's youth. It's just youth. The talent is all there. I think we were a little too unreasonably optimistic with how quick this young defense was going to come together.
Yes,
and you got in there with a offensive genius in DeBoer, and what's his
Grubb is Ron Grubb. That was the guy.
Grubb.
I didn't realize how good he was, but
it was.
He had an answer. He had an answer for everything, Smooch, and it was like It's like they were in Georgia's defensive meeting. They knew what Georgia was going to go with, and they had an answer for it. And Simpson, to his credit, executed it so well.
And that. And they did not make stupid mistakes. Georgia's defensive scheme is based on you making a mistake. We capitalized. Yeah. We capitalized. Yeah. That's how Georgia's defense works. We don't really force mistakes. We try and play well and wait for you to make a mistake. Well, aside from the one interception that was it on Balden that dropped it.
He should have dropped it on the first drive.
Aside from that, they really didn't make a lot of mistakes, and they didn't make careless mistakes.
Yeah.
They were extraordinarily well prepared. I have never seen an offensive line with that much discipline to not just – I know some of their blocking broke down, but they did not jump pre-snap, and you could not hear a thing in that stadium. It was impressive.
Yeah, because like I said, Georgia's fans were ready for this. It was a championship atmosphere in Game 4, which if you can be a part of that, it's amazing. You want to find a way to win that, but it is a growth process for Georgia, and I think they will exponentially grow from some of these situations. Last 2 games especially, they're going to get better, and we saw them get better in some aspects. It's like people said, it's like whack-a-mole. You fix one problem, another problem pops up maybe. But that's kind of the way it goes when you're dealing with players who are just kind of getting their first taste of big-time football. I had some questions going into this game, Smooch, against Alabama, and here is what mostly they were.
Okay.
Obviously, the offensive line. We saw the problems at Tennessee. I also had questions about how Gunnar Stockton would handle. He's still a guy who we love, Gunnar, but there's still some limitations or some learning curve in terms of what he needs. This is not high school anymore. You can't do what you do in high school. Right. There's a learning curve to fail, fix it, succeed, fail something else, fix it. There's a learning curve for Gunnar. So that was one of my questions. The last question was with our defensive backs. And I didn't even know Daniel Harris wasn't going to play. But I still had some questions, obviously. Because we made some mistakes. We didn't play the ball real well. We didn't finish plays against Tennessee. So what were our defensive backs going to be? Those were my main questions going into this Alabama game.
Yeah, I like that. Defensive backs, they had moments. There was a couple of moments where we lacked physicality, and I think that's inexcusable on a Kirby defense. Altogether. Yeah, like you said, offensive line, I thought they did a great job. One bust withstanding. We can get more into that later.
It feels like with defensive backs, first and foremost, these guys got to cover because a lot of times they're out there by themselves. They got to cover. And if you can get a defensive back who's physical as well, who tackles, that's one of those that's big time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so like Dalen Everett, man, he can lock down a receiver. He knows what he's doing. The knowledge is a big part of him because a couple years ago we were questioning him like he never turns his head around. He's not the guy.
What's he doing on the field? Yeah.
Come on, get him off the field. And we knew he would take the next step. I thought he would because of his talent, but he's still not a good tackler. He's still a guy who he's not. I mean, like I said, you don't have a lot of DBs who are big time hitters. But even Ellis Robinson, I still knock on him not physical enough. He missed a couple of tackles in open field. I saw one was for everybody to see. There was another one too off the right side, where he missed another tackle. It's not physical when you're seeing that slight of build that can affect you, and so. Yeah, so you kind of got to take what you can get. There's those combo type DBs are few and far between.
Yeah.
If they can tackle, they're playing safety a lot of times, or they're not, or they're playing some kind of star position. Which Aguero had a good game. So those are my questions. I do have answers. We did figure out some answers in that game, and I do think first of all the offensive line made me feel a lot better.
Yes, they're moving in the right direction.
Notwithstanding, not blocking for Cash, that would have potentially won the game. And so that happens, that there's a little miscommunication. Folks, you can say that we thought initially it was Gaston. We had some people with some expertise step up and say, nope, that was not what they were doing there. That was definitely Glover who didn't step out and take that defensive end and have Gaston take the linebacker and seal it all off. It was nobody on that side.
Yeah.
And so if you do those two things and outrun the scrape from the other side, which I think Cash would have done without the pressure in his face, then it's a great play. And people are talking about it for years. They're like, oh, Kirby Smart, he don't play to tie. He's playing to win.
Yeah.
He's got 2 national championships. He ain't playing just to tie them. He's telling him to play. You don't. If you come against the demons, if you come against the champ, you got to knock them out. And Georgia was trying to knock him out right there, not just tie the game. We had so much conversation after the game about that. It was good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But so I did feel Chad, our buddy Chad was definitely like in the he was definitely kicked the field goal at home.
Chad is in touch with his passion. I will say that. I was very much impressed. I wish I could be more like him.
I would, yeah. I did another answer. I did seem to feel like in a game at home, because when you play on the road, play at home, it should be different. And Stockton put up 300 yards on the road against Tennessee, and he played pretty good at home.
Yeah,
he felt like he was good but not elite, and that's okay. And on this Georgia team, sometimes some players have to, in some games, good not elite. That's what I felt about Gunner. He was also 2 plays away, Smooch.
This is interesting. Say this really slowly.
You fans
this is
to listen to this. So against Tennessee, Georgia had 90 plus snaps? 55 snaps against Alabama.
55.
He was 2 plays that had nothing to do with him. Talon Taylor, your right guard, making a block from scoring 35 points.
Right. And then what are we saying? What if Talon Taylor catches that ball? We're not saying anything about Gunner in this game because the pass was on the money, hit the kid in the hands, environment too big this stage in his career. Yeah. And then we had the play to Cash. And if those plays hit, which most of the time they would, and if those hit, they score 35 points, and no one's talking about anything.
And that's why it's so hard to accept, because both of those plays were plays you should make most of the time. They will. Yeah. They'll make them most of the time. They didn't make them against Alabama. And that's what it feels like.
That's what stings.
So 2 plays away from scoring 35 points in 55 plays is outstanding for an offense. Outstanding. It's not Mike Bobo. And I got online on Facebook especially and corrected some people like, oh, freaking Mike Bobo. I was like, you do not know what you're looking at. If you think about Mike, if you think the last 2 games against Tennessee and Alabama are any kind of indictment on Mike Bobo, it's not. I mean, there's plays you can look at and say, why? But overall, again, 2 plays away from scoring 35 points in 55 plays is outstanding football offensively. Another takeaway, Smooch. We kind of hinted at this. Maybe we hinted at this before the season started.
Yeah.
Chauncey Bowens is RB1. And Nate Frasier is RB2.
I think you heard that here first, Troop. I think you heard that there was a running back competition that was very possible to win for Chauncey. I think you heard it here first. No one else. It was just Frasier's job to lose. And Frasier really, he hasn't done as much to lose it as Chauncey has to win it. And he's just taken it. It's his.
Chauncey did. I did not. There were a couple of plays in that game where, Frasier early on had I think a second possession, maybe or third. He had a breakout run where he gashed him right up the middle, big hole, and you thought, okay, he's out to the door. He's out the door.
Yeah,
gone. An RB1, what you expect at Georgia is gone on that play, and they chased him down, tackled him after 20 yards.
Yeah, something like that.
And then I saw more than two plays with Chauncey Bowens who bounced it outside. There was one play where Chauncey bounced it. He was prepared to stiff arm, and he outran the stiff arm. The guy could not even get to him where he had to stiff arm him. And I read that in high school he was a 10.6 100 runner. I was like, okay, he's
getting it.
We think he's a big bruiser back. He's got a little movement and shake and lateral quickness, but Chauncey's got some speed. He did that several times Saturday night. So Chauncey is RB1, folks. We are not rooting against Nate Frasier. I love Nate Frasier. Smooch loves Nate Frasier. We're not rooting against him, but sometimes you're number two. Yeah. And I think Chauncey's going to get the majority of the snaps, at least right now.
Absolutely. It's a different looking team when Chauncey's on the field. You've got he is that guy that blends everything together. He can catch. He's got great vision. We knew that. What we did not know is how explosive he was. He is an explosive guy with the ball in his hands, and what should be a 4-yard gain can quickly turn into a 35-yard chunk play when Bowens is in the game. And like I said, I know Frasier had the fumble and everything, but Bowens has won that position. It's not. I think Frasier has played admirably. I think that's a good way to say it. Nothing wrong with how he plays, but Bowens changes the complexion of the offense when he's on the field.
And he can catch the ball. He's looks like a good blocker. Mm-hmm. When you bounce it outside like he did, the vision he has, and run people, I'm like, okay, sign me up. Yeah. And we talked about it in the spring game. He wasn't the sexy back, but he was still the best back on the field in the spring game. And he doesn't fumble the ball just yet either. So that's a big part in Kirby Smart's offense. I did see that Kirby was asked about how Nate took that, and he was devastated, of course. Yeah. But in his devastation, he was so excited during the game for Chauncey. And so he is like the culture. That's a culture thing. Yeah. You can be devastated for yourself, but excited for your teammate. And I like seeing that. And so we wondered, Smooch, and we talked about this Saturday night.
We did.
The long drives. The long Saturday night after Georgia lost, because he only got 4 carries. Nate got 4 carries. And I felt like after he fumbled, he didn't play again. So I felt like it was punitive. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, he didn't want to fumble. And he's working his ass off. He's working hard. He didn't want to fumble. He's a Georgia guy. He loves his teammates, and he has the right attitude. So why was he just put on the bench after that? And was it just that Chauncey was more effective, or we can't trust you? And I didn't know, because I didn't feel like I didn't feel like punitive was the right way to go if it was that. But he didn't play again.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe and not. I don't think we'll know that. Those are the types of things Kirby keeps in-house.
Yeah.
And but I will tell you, I can guarantee you there's more to all of that than we know. It's not just you fumbled, I told you not to fumble anymore, go sit on the bench. That is that's not Kirby's style. So there was more to it. We don't even know if the kid's nursing an injury. We don't know any of that. Yeah. And so it could be a lot of things. And so to speculate irresponsibly is not very wise, but it was obvious that the kid wasn't back out there for the rest of the game.
Another takeaway that I got an answer to what I was my defensive back questioning was I'm Swainsboro. I'm from Swainsboro.
Say it.
I don't care. I don't care if Melo
there's no
plays
argument.
or not.
Yeah.
DeMello Jones over Ellis Robinson right now, and there's multiple factors.
100%.
I think they're very similar in how they cover. I think they both have elite coverage skills. They could be with more time. I think Melo's so much more physical. I've seen him play all his career since he was a freshman in high school.
Right.
He's a physical. He's a dog, and he, like I told Smooch pre-show, he's a guy who's going to get some penalties just because he's aggressive and he's physical.
Yeah.
And he was put in a spot where I was afraid for him against those Alabama receivers. I was like, oh, please don't, please don't give up easy 7 points here. And he did. He played great, dude. He was in phase the whole time. He was right where he needed to be. And nerves aside, played great, tackled. And I really feel like Ellis has got a big role for this team. Maybe more next year. He's just so little. He feels. I don't care if he's 210 pounds. He's not. He's 180 pounds. He feels little the way he plays. He's not physical. He doesn't tackle. He doesn't. It's just a lack of physicality in everything he does. And that's. People were saying, well, why didn't Ellis play last year? He's up number 1 recruit in our class. You're starting to see all you folks calling for it. You're starting to see some of his deficiencies. Not that he is not an elite talent, but there are some problems with him. So I do think Melo over Ellis right now. And who knows what's going on with Daniel Harris?
Right. Don't even know what that is. I think Melo is just right now, he's a more complete package. It doesn't even mean he's going to be the better player. But right now, DeMello has more of the things you need to play at Georgia. He can cover, and he's not afraid to get his nose dirty. And that's the whole thing. Melo got penalties on offense in high school for unnecessary roughness, and he played quarterback, running back, receiver in high school as well. He's more ready right now, and there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean that. He may end up being a second-round pick, and Ellis may end up being a first-round pick. Those are all fine. But right now, the guy that makes your defense better is DeMello. I don't even think it's up for debate.
Also in the defensive backfield, I feel like Dalen is cornerback number 1, but I'm missing some stuff from him as well. He had on that drive before half, he had 2 plays that make me shake my head.
Yeah.
One was a coverage play, too much room. No was a physicality tackling play.
Right.
Not good. And him and Balden hasn't been great either. You would know it. So I feel like Dalen and KJ, they've been good, but not elite. We need those guys to be elite, Smooch.
Yeah, I've heard that Balden is having to take on more responsibility, and that's keeping him from playing as freely and as aggressively as he normally would. I don't know if any of that's true, but that's just some of the information trickling down, is that the more inexperience you put around him, the more roles he has to fulfill. And that may be a reason. But Balden has not appeared elite this year, even though we know all of the potential's there.
He struggled in Tennessee. Was some bad film against Tennessee, and I struggled to find a lot of good film against him with him for Alabama either. And maybe he wasn't put in conflict a lot, but my mind, I remember him missing a tackle that I needed him to make. And he didn't make it. And defensive line, Smooch, another takeaway to the answer in this game. We are just no elite pass rushers. I think Georgia stops the run, which is a huge factor. Mm-hmm. You got to run the ball, and Georgia stops the run. Yeah. But they have no elite pass rushers. I don't think that's up to debate right now. You can work around that. It cost you. There is a sacrifice for scheming the pass rush.
Yeah, 100%. We do not have the one-on-one winner that, on D tackle. If you win one-on-one every time, you get double teamed, and that frees up your linebackers, which is a great thing. On the end, if you can beat your guy, you get sacks, you get quarterback hurries. Ty Simpson stayed really clean in this game. He did not get his jersey dirty. Looking at it live, it looked like I said this at the game. It looks like the Madden video game where your defensive line just runs into the offensive lineman and sticks to them. I don't know what it is. Is it coaching? Is it they don't have any array of pass moves? Are they trying to take a moment to read before they turn loose on the quarterback? What is
that's what Devin Bellamy says. Devin Bellamy in his social media post was that we don't have, the moves that we're using to get to the quarterback is ineffective, not coached up.
Yeah, we're not seeing really moves. It's lots of bull rushes, lots of trying to outrun people rather than rip moves. We're not seeing any of that. We're not seeing any club moves. Some of these kids brought their own. I mean, Elijah, when he gets in the game, you can see elements of a good pass rusher down the road in him. But we're just we can't get pressure with 4, which means you're going to have to do it with 5 and 6, and that's when you start stretching that inexperienced secondary.
You do, and that's when you leave some stuff open, obviously. So the next segment is just what happened. What happened, and I got. Me and Smooch have some stuff. We're going to talk about what happened during this game, the narrative, and some points. And I think the segue is perfect because the number one aspect when you go 13 for 18 on third downs, it's that the inability to disrupt the quarterback was a huge issue for Georgia. And so
we talked about it before the game, right? We said you got to put pressure on this guy to get him to make any mistakes. If you don't, he's going to pick you apart, and that's what he did.
I guess Wisconsin attacked him differently. They sat back and hoped he'd make a mistake. He didn't. He looked wonderful. Georgia came after him, but it felt different. And I would love to have a real conversation with you, Smooch, about it because it felt different in the first half. It felt like Georgia wasn't putting pressure on him.
Yeah,
they weren't. In the end, they weren't. But it felt like they weren't attempting to be aggressive.
Yes.
But in terms of the game, they were. 14 blitzes in the first half, 6 blitzes in the second half. Which half was more effective? And there might be some nuance in there. But Georgia sent 4.
I was going to say, not all blitzes are created equal. Even the blitzes were unimaginative. Especially in the first half. They're very straightforward. They were easily picked up. We call it no confusion in their blocking scheme. Those are the things I look for because those are scheme things, right? There should be every once in a while you should have a free runner go whack the quarterback. We didn't have it at all.
Not at all. I saw the stunts. I saw Georgia sending our linebackers. I saw a safety blitz at one point. None of them got home, but for a couple of reasons. Either they were picked up by the offensive line because they had an idea what Georgia was going to send at them. You don't pick those up without scouting it and being really confident about where it's coming from. It just doesn't happen.
They were in the film room. I'm telling you, you were spot on with that.
Because Georgia has elite athletes, and if they confuse you at all, they're going to get you. They're going to get to you. Georgia's not playing with guys who can't make a play, and so either Bama picked it up or Simpson got rid of it. And the way he got rid of the ball was so impressive to me because there were some plays where you can say the result was Georgia didn't get a sack, or you can say where there was pressure coming. It was coming quick, and he just ripped it. And he didn't rip it just getting rid of the ball. He ripped it on time to a receiver who was turning his head. It was open, and they were making the play. And I was like, and you want to feel like as a Georgia fan that we have our own agency. Like if we do what we do what we do, and we do it well, we're gonna get you.
Yes.
And Simpson and that offense was just prepared for it. So that's why I give credit to Grubb and DeBoer because they just got it done, and nothing Georgia could stop it early on.
Well, there's one thing about it that really, really bothered me. Bama's got great receivers, and we never interrupted them. Those guys got free release off the line. They ran those slants and drag routes to perfection and just destroyed that, whatever that loose zone was Georgia was trying to put together in the first half. And there was no disruption off the line. I get it. When you bump and run somebody, they can get by you. But you're choosing death by 1,000 cuts to let those guys run wild. Yeah, there was no bump. There was just run.
So if you're going to send 14 blitzes, if you're going to come at these guys and looking at the tape, Georgia did, then don't give them space because guess what? That you disrupt Simpson's timing by making him throw it maybe half a second, quarter of a second quicker than he wants to. You're changing his clock.
Yes.
Don't give him space. Don't give the receiver space. I know you're worried about him beating you over the top or beating you for a big play, and that's Georgia doesn't want to do that. They don't want to give you big explosives and big touchdowns. They don't want that. But you saw it on third down where there was too much space on plays. And if you're going to come after him, you got to figure you're going to get pretty close to him. If you don't get there, he's going to throw it quicker than he wants to.
Right.
And if you already gave him a cushion, they're going to have receivers open. And I feel like that was the issue. That was the disconnect with our DBs and our pass rush. You got to be connected with that. If you're going to send a rush, don't give him any space. Already play it. Know them that they're going to get there and force him to throw the ball.
100%. And not only that, they were catching the ball because they weren't disrupted in any way. They're catching it in stride. So they're getting those, catching a 6-yard pass is fine. We showed that against Tennessee a few years ago. You can catch 5-yard passes. That's cool. And then we'll drop you right there. But no, they're catching the ball in stride. They're turning 6-yard passes into 13-yard gains. And they seemingly did it at will. It looked like 7-on-7 on third down.
There were so many third and long, Smooch. There were so many thirds and like, this is what we eat on. This is what any team eats on. Third and,
let's feast.
And 5 or 6
Come
or more.
on. Yeah.
And that's why I'm like Simpson was if Simpson wasn't locked in as he was, then he would have made some more mistakes, and it would have felt like, okay, even if Georgia wasn't doing some things perfectly, it would have better results when he was pressured.
Yeah.
1 of 5. 1 of 5. When he was really, really pressured.
Yeah.
1 of 5. And that one, Smooch, freaking Chris Cole got back there and grabbed his arm.
Yeah.
Grabbed his arm. He was being held, grabbed his arm, and he still pulled free and completed it for a first down. I was like,
yeah. But that was it. That was under when hurried, I guess is the term. Under pressure when hurried, 1 of 5. And that needed to be more like 2 of 11. That's what we needed. But we didn't get 11 pressures. I mean, I've never seen a quarterback. Think about those games against Bryce Young and against Tua. And Jalen Hurts, those quarterbacks, they may have won a couple of those games, but they paid for it physically. Mm-hmm. Ty Simpson could have changed clothes and gone out to a movie afterwards. He was not sore. He was not hit. He's just fine.
He was cutting hedges and putting them in his teeth afterwards. Yeah. So, yeah, he was good. I think we've established at this point with 2 big SEC games, Georgia doesn't have any elite pass rushers, and so they're going to have to manufacture that. We all held hope that Elo Madozi from Army was going to be that guy. He was on the field very rarely, eight snaps, I think. And because the coaches know why. I don't know why.
Right.
And Chris Cole, he's doing so many things, Smooch. I think he's an elite guy everywhere you put him, but he's stretched over a big portion of the field, and teams can scheme it up where he can't just chase your tackle, get around your tackle. You got to do other things. But
Chris Cole's
those are the
playing
2 guys.
Yeah, Chris Cole's playing 4 positions right now, people. 4. He's
He
playing
is, folks.
4 positions.
He's that talented.
Mm-hmm.
And so until
what
you
it
get
means is
other
he's
players,
not pinning his ears back and rushing the quarterback sometimes.
not consistently.
Yeah.
He's not, because he's got other things he got to do. Another what happened point I made was that Georgia's, and this is folks are right in line with this, Georgia offense failed to capitalize in the second half because there were a couple of things going on. Georgia did get possession near the 50-yard line twice, and they did have a Taylor missed a wide open touchdown pass, and freshman.
Gosh.
Yep, and Kirby said that. People ask, what did you say to him, or what do you think about that? And he's like, I just love him up because he practices hard. He's got the right mindset, and he's devastated. And he's a guy, we're going to come back. I told him, we're coming back to you. Don't let this is just one of those things. He's a guy that catches that thing 98 out of 100 times.
Yeah, and you don't have to tell him you could have lost us the game, because I guarantee you he thinks it's all on his shoulders. That's the kind of kid he is.
10 seconds later,
you don't pile on. Yeah.
Yeah, he knew it. And then the other with are very talented. And this is going to bode well in this season and next season to come. Glover on the right side at guard and Gaston at right tackle. That's where he projects anyway. Gaston does. He's a monster that can move and bend. They probably cost us, because when you go tempo, the flip side of tempo, it catches the defense off balance, and they did. Alabama's defense was out of line. Nobody was to the right side on that play. They had it sealed. But you also, moving quick, you maybe don't know your assignments, and you saw Gaston not know his assignment. and he blocked somebody, but he didn't. He blocked. He helped. He really helped Bobo at center block up front, and somebody snuck through, and so a freshman will get you beat, and that's kind of what happened there.
Yeah, that was a freshman mistake. But in terms of the trajectory of that side of the line, it's a really weird place to be. It might be the weak spot on the line, but it might have the most potential on the line all at the same time. And so they're capable of shining. And
Great
even
point.
in the run game, because run game's a little easier, right? It's you're attacking in the run game, whereas you're sort of receiving, you're catching, you're defending in the pass game. You can really see it. I mean, Gaston is verging on elite as a run blocker right now. And so the needle's pointing up. But guys, when you have freshmen and sophomores everywhere, you've just got to accept that kids are going to drop balls, kids are going to miss assignments. That's just the way it is. Now, you got to hope you can keep those kids on this team and continue to build, because they are building something that looks pretty promising.
Oh, yeah. It's been reviewed and analyzed, and I think they tried to figure out, obviously, if looking at that play, Smooch, and we'll talk about it just briefly right here before I move on.
Yeah.
That on that play where they handed the ball to Cash on that fourth down and half a yard, if Georgia would kick it, Georgia should use tempo. Georgia should call a timeout, get the right guys in there, make sure everybody's on the same page. That's why it's a great debate. But the facts remain. If you do something that you do every day in practice, which is block a guy in front of you for like a split second, then Georgia likely scores a touchdown. It doesn't mean they win the game, because that changes how Alabama approaches the next series. It does.
Of course.
We know that. We're not stupid. But it gives you – being up 4 is much more better than being down 3 at that point, and it feels different when you lost a scoring opportunity, and Georgia lost a couple of those in game.
You're touching on something, and people are questioning Kirby, and rightfully so. I mean, he's the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs. My questioning of Kirby is not the play call itself, even the personnel on the field. I would have kicked it. I mean, I'm not a coach, but I would have kicked it, because I think that Bama was ready to you let Bama know this game's tied. We're starting all over right now, after they had given their best punch to Georgia, and Georgia had taken it, and now we're starting over. I think that mentally bakes Alabama. So I like the idea of kicking it. But the play doesn't bother me. Even the personnel doesn't bother me as much. Here's my thing, and this is a philosophy thing. This idea that when we play Austin Peay or when we play Marshall, we're going to stay vanilla. We're not going to do certain things, and we're going to stay in this little shell and execute very simple things. And then when we need it against elite teams like Tennessee and Alabama, we're just going to turn the faucet on, because they do it in practice all the time. I'm beginning to wonder. It's always been frustrating. There's nothing more frustrating than watching like Georgia play Samford, right? It's just a frustrating game, because they never just put their foot on the gas and wipe a team out. But does that give those young offensive linemen more confidence, more experience? Does it give – what about if Talon Taylor had 15 catches coming into this game? Because against some of these weaker teams, we're feeding him the ball. Would that have helped? I just question this idea that we can just turn it on. We do it in practice so much that we can go completely vanilla against weak teams and then just turn it on when we need it. And I think it looked to me like it bit us in the butt. I might be wrong. That's why I'm sitting here not getting paid, and Kirby is. But
Yeah, I get it. And my question on that is that I felt like they played the way they practiced, that they practiced this little grouping of plays. But the 3rd and 4 where Gunner almost got the first down, just short. And you can look at it on Twitter. We got a great view of it.
We were on that yard line. Yep.
We were. And I think that's where they got cute, because they were going to run it all along. The reason you put Cash in there it's going to be 2 plays at least. And the reason you put him in there is because you don't want him to think you're going to run.
Right.
He's the pass protector. He's the swing pass guy. He's not the runner. You put him in there on 3rd down and 4 because you want to confuse the defense, and that I feel like it ended up biting you
Too cute.
on
I like that.
4th down play. it was trying to be cute on a third down play or try to trick them when you put your best guys in there, put Chauncey in there, put Nate Frasier in there. Somebody who can break that tackle, and Cash almost did. The tackle, he didn't really get tackled. He got pushed off balance and fell. But somebody who is 225 pounds that's not gonna affect them on that. So put your best guys in there, and I feel like looking back, I think that they will. That's something even as a coaching in the process of coaching offense, they will say, yeah, maybe going forward we overthought ourselves on that part of it. But the play call to me was the tempo was right. You got them where you want them. And Georgia has shown you a couple times that if you let the defense get set on a short yardage possession inside the 5-yard line, they haven't been successful like that every time. They haven't. They've struggled, even Sauce P. And so you've seen some of that. And even with McCray, you still got to give him a little room. He can't chuck everybody. Yeah. And so that's my take on that. Let me see even where I was. I do think that Georgia should peak. My answer to my takeaway for some of this stuff, I guess, is that Georgia should be getting better and better. Yeah. If you can say we're so young and we're still learning about who we are and about what it takes to succeed, I think Georgia will get better. But you can't keep taking losses with that, because at some point you can be the best. You can be like Georgia's been this a couple times over the past 10, 12 years. They've been at their peak at the end of the season and with no other opportunity.
Yeah, and then their season's done. Yeah,
but to play a bowl game, yeah. So you don't want to be there. You got to win those games, and because I think obviously Georgia's going to get better and better. They have a ton of talent, right? But they're young.
And we're in SEC play. Kentucky's no pushover. No team in the SEC is, and so
not at all.
This team, I think you're right. Either this team grows exponentially from this and does some damage later in the year, or they head the other direction. I mean, this is either going to be that moment they look back to and say, remember the putting our nose to the grindstone after this game and how far we've come, or is this a harbinger of like what's coming? Because the games aren't getting any easier, guys.
Yeah. Looking at the snap counts, just so you guys know a couple of position groups I'm always curious about. It may give you a little more insight into what was going on. Offensive line, which we were intensely focused on. You do have Monroe Freeling and Drew Bobo and let's see, Donnie Glover at right guard, 55 snaps apiece, all of them. Michael Morris got injured, one little play, came out, 54 snaps. Okay. And so all those guys played the whole game. And then pretty much Gaston and Hughley, I think they're pronouncing it that way with a G now, split those 55 snaps. I do have Gaston for 29, Hughley for 27. Okay. And so they split them. And Gaston was still coming off of an injury. I think going forward, it's going to be his spot. You didn't see Green at all. You didn't see Uini at all. Mm-hmm. And so this tells you that Gaston is that dude. And you want to get Hughley in there, but he's going to be the guy who is the swing tackle from right to left. And you're going to need that because
you need a 6-man. It's just like basketball. You got to have a 6-man.
And so that's the way that shook out. Looking at our running back positions, which we would never have predicted that Nate Frasier would only get 8 snaps and 4 carries in this game. If we did, we would assume he had been injured. He did not. Chauncey Bowens with big numbers, 28 snaps. He was almost 10 yards a carry. Big plays.
Yeah.
We didn't see that either.
He looked great. And, Kirby's always rotating. He's always keeping guys on the field. So anything getting close to 30 snaps for a running back in Kirby's scheme is a lot.
Josh McCray was actually the second leading carrier possessions with 12 carries. 12 snaps. So McCray is becoming more dependable, and you saw what he did. He got mad at the line of scrimmage on that touchdown, and eventually just used his left arm to just shuck him.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Say, no, you're not that guy. I'm scoring. He did that. Dwight Phillips had 1 snap, and it was the Peanut had that 1 carry right before the play to Taylor Taylor. And so that was his only snap. Cash Jones, 8 plays, 8 snaps. DBs, I think defensive backs were curious to me as well. because you saw some just different players out there. KJ Bolden with 78 snaps, Dalen Everett with 77, Aguero 64. Those guys were out there. And then the safety position was one I wasn't sure of. I felt like Ja'Cory Thomas was maybe the leader coming in to the season, but he's been relegated to the number 2 safety, or number 3 if you talk about it with Bolden. But he only had 20 snaps, but Kyron Jones had 20. And I will say that Kyron came in, he signed with Georgia as a running back. And so Kirby said he's a kind of a thumper. He brings a little more lumber to the equation. And so he likes Kyron Jones. He got 60 snaps compared to Ja'Cory Thomas's 20. And then you had, it looked like with no Daniel Jones and Daniel Harris, who knows why he didn't play. I heard groin injury. I don't know if that's true. Hadn't heard anything further on that. But you had Ellis Robinson with 38 until he had some issues. And you saw Davin Bellamy do a little breakdown on him not putting hands on anybody on a one-on-one situation that was a touchdown. Just jam somebody, put hands on them. Don't make it so they can choose their route.
Right.
He had 38 snaps. DeMello Jones had 43.
Okay.
That tells you
changing of the guard there, and it's funny. They're both 5 stars, but Ellis was such the sexy recruit, and like I said, I think he's coming along just fine. He's just not ready yet. Simple as that. He's not as ready as DeMello is.
Yeah. What else, Smooch? I was going to mention one more thing. I've heard varying stories on our inside linebacker position. And a lot of folks are like Chris Cole and Justin Williams are the next guys. Raylan Wilson doing well, and people are split on C.J. Allen.
Yes, yeah, I'm hearing that.
I heard one media group, football guys say that he was a step late. He doesn't cover screens well. He does not cover the pass well, cover receivers well. And he's just not better than he was as a freshman. He's a junior.
A junior.
And then Brooks Austin came out and said he had the game of his life.
Wow.
That's two big time gaps in what people's opinions are on what C.J. Allen did. A great guy, he calls the plays, but Raylan Wilson calls plays too. I watched him.
We saw it.
And so some people are calling for C.J. Allen to lose some snaps, maybe to Justin Williams. A sophomore, maybe a redshirt sophomore, and other people are saying that no, CJ had a great game, and I don't know it's so nuanced and it's so, I don't know. I think he's a good player. I don't think he has quite the speed that if you're looking for a Kobe Dean, Roquan Smith type guy who just is a beeline to every play on the outside and fills every gap. That's what they want to see from him, and he hasn't quite lived up to that.
Yeah, and I think the most fair criticism of him is just that. He looked like a freshman with really nice potential as a freshman, and he kind of looks like that now.
But he was really good as a freshman. That's the thing. It's just not been a leaps and bounds growth.
Right, and when you see a freshman, like DeMello's a perfect example. He's a redshirt freshman, but you see this guy, you can see the potential, and what you're doing when you see that is you say, "Oh my gosh, 3 years from now, what are we going to have in this kid?" With CJ, we really haven't seen that. Matter of fact, we've seen linebackers come into the system, surpass him, and move on to the next level in this same amount of time, and so. Yeah, I'm not really ready to pass judgment on C.J. Allen yet as to whether or not he should lose snaps. I would love to go back and watch just the screen passes because Bama torched Georgia with screens a couple of times in the game, and then Georgia started sniffing them out in the second half. I would love to see the personnel that shut down those 3 screens in the second half, what was on the field then. And
that's why I give credence to Brooks Austin, because he really pours over that game film. And if he says that CJ had a great game and I watched Brooks' stuff, then I'm going to say, okay, maybe he saw something that, maybe CJ's played better, and but maybe he's not Nakobe Dean, and that's okay.
Right. Right. So, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Wrapping that up, Smooch, we're moving on from Alabama, and we do play them next year in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Thanks, SEC.
Yeah,
Go right back down there. We'll have another. We will revisit that when we need to. Georgia does have an incredible SEC slate coming up this week, a couple of days from now.
Yeah.
And they have Kentucky at noon and at home. And Kentucky's one of the worst teams in the SEC, but they have perennially gave Georgia an issue. And Georgia's approached them differently. I don't know if that'll be the same this year since Georgia's looking for some good vibes after losing to Alabama. I think Georgia may put some stuff out there and pour it on a bit. I don't think they're going to just pull the Dogs back. I don't. And then Georgia, of course, plays Auburn in a couple of weeks on the road. And it just continues. Every week is just a juggernaut, a big, huge game for Georgia's season.
I agree. Everything you said. I think that,
I nailed it.
Yeah. I just want to see Georgia go mop the floor with somebody. I just want to let the ponies run. These are kids. They need confidence, and I'm a childish fan. I need confidence too.
That's it.
Just let them out there and let them run. If you got a chance to beat Kentucky by 60, go beat Kentucky by 60. I don't want another 13-12 game with Kentucky, not after an Alabama loss. Put on your big girl panties, get out there and play some football. Let them run.
Kirby, don't tell me how much you respect Mike Stoops.
Yes. What is this?
Yes. Beat his ass and say, hey, come join us when they fire you at Kentucky, and we'll put you on defense.
We got a spot for you, buddy. Exactly. Expedite the process, Kirby. Beat him by 50.
We need the demons out, Smooch. The demons are still here.
They're still here. There's still an unresolved torment in my life.
Yeah, we had a whole cocktail named
Demons Out.
Smooch said a couple times. I'm making a cocktail called Demons Out, and it's gonna signify what we do to Alabama.
Yes.
And now it only signifies that the demons are still in, and we got to get them out. And so, yeah.
Still here.
But it's one of those games with Alabama. We'll remember. We'll think about it. If not fondly, it'll be something that motivates us and lets us know that, man, you cannot, even at home. And the 33-game winning streak is done. We start anew, and it's hard to get to that point again for sure. Mm-hmm. Big credit to players and coaches we disrespected. I didn't think that Kalen DeBoer and Grubb, whoever. I was thinking DeBoer. I think maybe Grubb gets a lot of credit too for the game plan. Otherwise,
well, you can't call their team undisciplined because they're getting DoorDash late at night when they come into a place with 93,000 maniac fans and play a clean, non-sloppy game. You can't say DeBoer doesn't have a disciplined team because they disciplined all over Georgia, especially in the first half.
Color me shocked.
Yeah, right.
All right, folks. We do appreciate you guys and all the attention on our social media this week.
Yeah.
We know you guys are emotional, passionate.
Yes.
And we are too. We really started a winning streak. We don't want to lose again for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. And people saying we're going to lose 1 or 2 more games. We're fans. We don't hoop. Why would we predict that? Yeah. We're Georgia Bulldogs. We set the standard. And if you don't believe it, watch what happens after this game. We believe it. All right, we're going to sign this one off for Smooch Moncrief. This is Troop Brinson saying so long. We'll see you soon, dog fans.
This is the Dog Show with Troop and Smooch.
It's the dog show. It's the dog show. It's the dog show. It's the dog show.